The deal is the beginning and first step. It leads us into the negotiation so that we guarantee that while we are negotiating for the dismantling, while we are negotiating for the tougher provisions, they will not grow the program and their capacity to threaten Israel.
Welcome to Opinion Journal. I'm Mary Kissel. The United States and 5 major world powers struck an interim nuclear deal with Iran late Saturday night. The White House says it's a good first step, but is it? I've got Foundation for Defense of Democracies President Cliff May on the line from Washington. Cliff, let's start out with the basics here. What did the U.S. get from this deal?
Well, not very much. Possibly a slight slowing of Iranian progress towards the manufacture of a nuclear weapon. And we believe, most experts believe, that the Iranian regime is no more than a few months away from manufacturing a nuclear weapon. So when I talk about a delay, I'm talking about probably weeks. The U.S. didn't get much. The Iranians are not giving up their centrifuges. They're not giving up their enriched uranium. They're not giving up the facility at Iraq, which would provide a plutonium path to a nuclear weapon. Not very intrusive inspections, not the additional protocol, which I think would have been useful. So not a whole lot in this first, what's being called a plan of action, this interim agreement. And in exchange for that, sanctions are being eased, economic pressure on Iran is being eased, and there's some controversy about how much. The Americans are saying it's only $6 or $7 billion worth. Others worry that once you take a couple of bricks out of the sanctions wall, it's going to start to collapse.
Your colleagues had a fascinating op-ed in this morning's paper titled "A Bad Agreement Likely to Get Worse." One of the things that they noted is that this deal doesn't even measure up to standards set by the United Nations and resolutions out of the UN. What do you make of that?
You know, that's a very important point, Mary. The United Nations Security Council has issued a number of resolutions that really constitute international law requiring Iran to stop enrichment activities, to stop progress towards building the infrastructure for nuclear weapons. These UN Security Council resolutions might have been considered the kind of common denominator, the floor. Instead, essentially, this agreement says, never mind about the UN Security Council resolutions. Those were too tough. We'll make it easier on you. I'm not somebody who is a big booster of UN Security Council authority in the world. Nonetheless, this undermines it in this instance. And it sends a message that UN Security Council resolutions, you can negotiate your way around them.
Cliff, last question. How easy would it be for Iran to simply walk away from this and develop not just a nuclear weapon, but ballistic missile capability to deliver that weapon?
They are developing ballistic missile capability to develop that weapon. This agreement does not address that, and they will continue to make progress, we believe, I certainly believe, despite this agreement, even if they do so more slowly. So if this is going to be saved, Secretary Kerry has a lot of hard work to do. And the point is that sanctions had produced maximum leverage on Iran before this agreement. Now that leverage has been reduced, there will be less reason for the Iranians to want to give up anything more, especially if the sanctions wall now does begin to collapse, as a lot of people fear it will.
Okay, well, it sounds a lot like what we did with North Korea. Foundation for Defense.
Sounds exactly like that.
Foundation for Defense of Democracies President Cliff May, thank you for joining us.